Welcome to our program. Today, Mr. V. Suresh, expert in housing, urban development, and sustainable built environment, is with us. He is holding a very good position in various organizations, and he is the president of Good Governance India Foundation and a chairman for Indian Green Building Council, vice chairman for National Building Code of India, and a member of Expert Appraisal Committee Infra 2 of Ministry of Environmental Forest and Climate Change, and a member of Advisory Council for Rebuild Kerala, and former CMD and HUDCO chairman, and former president of Indian Building Congress and NEREDCO. Today, on behalf of Prayojana Construction Management Training Institute, welcome you for the program number 54 on the sustainable built environment. Please, sir, this is for you. The young students are here to listen to you. Welcome, sir.
Very good. Very happy. Good evening, all you wonderful young ones over there. And to Ashok Kumar, a special thanks for inviting me to address the gathering. And I'm so happy that Prayojana Group has done so many rounds of webinars on the subject of the young budding engineers coming from different parts of the country, and to give them the right level of skill sets required beyond what they learned in the engineering colleges, to convert all those traditional skill sets that is needed from the classroom knowledge to practical experience is a very major initiative. This is one of the major thrust area needed for the country, because we find any number of engineers coming out from the engineering colleges, but then they are not employable because they have not got the full exposure on practical situations in the field level and the right level of skill sets required for them to get into the area. There used to be, I graduated about 55 years from College of Engineering Gindi in Chennai, Anna University, and we used to have, that's a 5-year course then. Now the course is all 4 years courses now. We used to have quite an amount of exposure in the practical side during those particular days, where we used to get into project site on the very next day after we do our last examination. We were a very confident team, but then things have changed a lot, and therefore it's very necessary a program of this nature which Prayojana has assembled and put it into practice with good success, has been able to develop good impact, and the large number of students who undergone these particular training program, I call the finishing school, if I may use the word. This particular thing also makes them equipped to get into, sorry, the call for Jayashree Group thing, right? So extremely good that this is happening with the right level of exposure. I think I can take around 15 minutes with the right level of exposure. I think I can take around 15 minutes. How much time? Ashok?
Sir, 15 to 20 minutes, sir, as per your wish.
Yeah. Do I have some time for some Q&A?
Yes, sir, we will have.
We can have some Q&A? Wonderful. So let me try to finish in less than 15 minutes. So you'll have more time for Q&A. It's about 4:18 now. So about roughly I'll go on till about 4:33, and then I'm also looking at the watch, and then we'll take on the subject. Well, young ones, how many in the participants are young ladies and how many are young men?
Around 50%, sir. Around 50 people are there, 25 girls, 25 boys are there roughly.
Wonderful, very good. When I studied in 1960 to 1965 engineering college, there was only, out of all the 5 years batch put together, there used to be around 890 students. There was only one lady over there, and all the remaining were young men. You can understand. So now things have changed. Large number of young engineers are coming from the lady side also. Especially the construction site, they might be having little amount of problem, but even there, we have very good site engineers and construction planning team available from the lady side also, and I'm very happy you have a good mix on that. Okay, let me start. I think the right way to put across is that building construction activity and infrastructure construction, there are two types of construction going on. One, all types of buildings that you have, residential building, school building, hospital building, commercial building, mall building, office complex, factory building, malls and multiplexes, cinema theaters, any type of building where occupancy takes place. Single-storied building, double-storied building, 10-story, 20-story, 30-story, even around 100 stories have come in India already. Maybe you may be aware, you may not be aware. So that's one type of construction coming. And the construction can also be made from the lowest level of just stone masonry to brick masonry, which are low height buildings over there, or you can get into RCC buildings of frames and the slabs coming and the filler walls being built of various masonry components, including stone, brickwork, including concrete blocks, as well as now glass also comes over there, many partition materials, etc. And then you also have construction entirely which are based on steel construction, where the whole frame can be. Most of the construction abroad are not RCC concrete one, but they are also made of steel frames, steel column, steel beams, and then the flooring can be concrete, and then the filler, because those buildings are able to withstand the lateral force of wind as well as earthquake better. They are a flexible structure than rigid structures, if I may use a word. And then you have the next type of construction, which is called not the in situ construction, but constructions which are done prefabricated. Everything is manufactured not at the site there. That requires a different type of capacity among all you young engineers to deal with all those products of columns and beams and slabs and various components which are manufactured in a prefabricated factory. It can be either the site or it can be a little far away. They are moved back into the site, transporting, then lifting it, then erecting and putting into practice. India is going to get into the prefabrication construction very shortly. At present, we may be having just maybe around 5% of the total construction and the prefab construction, but that's not the way world is doing. If you go to Dubai, if you go to Singapore, you go to Malaysia, you go to European countries, all these areas, Korea, China, prefabricated construction is a very major component because it cuts short the time in a very large way, and you are able to do the actual erection construction much shorter time. You're getting good quality of construction. You have some amount of concerns there because all are being jointed there. So the joints in the construction between the column and beam, as well as the slab and the beam and columns, and each one of those things are an important component, because when buildings shake because of the horizontal force due to wind or earthquake from below the ground, so they should have the structural stability and integrity. So there are some issues, but these can all be resolved. So you should equally be good for in situ construction starting. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. ഞാനൊരു വന്നോളൂ, ഞങ്ങൾ മീറ്റിംഗിലാണ്, വന്നോളാം. താങ്ക് യു. അല്ല, ഇത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിലെ നമ്പറാണത്. ഇല്ല, ഞാൻ അവിടെ വീട്ടിലായിരിക്കും. ഞാനിപ്പോ ഒരു കോൺഫറൻസിലാണ്, ഒരു വീട്ടിലൊരു. Can you contact me after 15 minutes? Okay. Sorry, there's another occupational hazard when you are in too many meetings. No problem. Sure. So you got to take care of all the type of constructions that we have in buildings itself. The buildings again are structural, then the non-structural item, then the finishing items, which are all your flooring and polishing and plastering and all your painting and other related thing, and then the services component. Services will be all your lift services, air conditioning services, firefighting services, electrical installation services, plumbing services. So all are services coming. That's also a construction component. Quite often, when you talk of construction, we think construction is only wall, column, beam, slab, wall, flooring, finish. You think everything is done. That is just, you'll be surprised to know, only around 50% of the cost of construction. The balance 50% goes into all the remaining items of all the services called the building services and the plumbing services and all the critical services required for the building over there. You should equally be, as a good civil engineer, you need to be very closely associated with these particular things as well. It's very important to understand. Okay, if Civil construction, 100% civil engineer does that. In the case of the services construction over there, the civil engineering component could be 20%, 30%, and the remaining can be a mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer or a plumbing engineer or a fire protection engineer. But you should have the capability to provide space for all of them to work together as a team when you go at the construction site over there. You can't say, I'm a civil engineer, I wouldn't know. You got to know, because all of them have got to get a place in the X direction, Y direction, and the Z direction, because each one of the piping system, mechanical system has got to be put in some part of your building there, which has got to be looked after at your level. So you have to deal with these particular aspects also in a big way. I talked about prefab construction, which is very, very important. Now, when you deal with, and obviously for all these particular things, you should have very good knowledge on the construction practices. You are not a design engineer now, that the structural engineer must have already done what type of size of the column and beam are there, what type of reinforcement is there, what is the cover detail. Those are all details into which the design team would already gone. But you have to know how to translate those particular aspects which are coming on the drawings over there. Good for construction drawings, they are called, and good for construction drawings which come to the side there, how to translate and make that column, make that beam, make that slab, and be the right cover. This is where the most important thing can come over there. How do you deal with all those important issues? Cover. Many often this is left out. People miss this particular aspect in a big way, and you need to bring in your capacity to have actual skills for standing at the site to do the construction. Materials form an important component, and therefore the way in which you cover either bricks or mortar or aggregate, sand or coarse aggregate or various other things, including how do you make a concrete, how you get the right workability, your water cement ratio, and how do you do that with the right level of placing of the concrete and the right level of plumb lines, and all those details are details of construction. I can't take that in about 10 minutes time. They are all 50 lectures might be need to deal with all that. But you have to be really sure on how to deal with the construction. There are a large number of established construction practices there. The National Building Code of India is a very important guiding document, give you full guidance. And these days, National Building Code is free. I hope you know that. Ashok, are you aware?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have copies.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for any course or standards. All free, downloadable. But you get only PDF version. You can't get the other version because you don't want to change those provisions there. So therefore, it's easy to get those clauses there, and also to work with all those. You are now, when you stand there supervised as an engineer, you have to deal with large number of construction skills there. You deal with the mason, the carpenter, the barbender, the plumber, the electrician, the floor layer, the tile layer, the glass layer, the firefighting equipment installation people, the lift installation agency, air conditioning installation agency. There are so many people on the skill level who can be trained people. If they're trained people, certified people, good. India is not good in that context because we do not have all our construction workers trained and certified. Whereas if you want to go and do work in Singapore, or you want in Malaysia, or in Seoul, or in other parts of the world, every worker at the site has to go through a training, and they will certify a certified mason, a certified carpenter, a certified barbender, a certified plumber, everybody has got to be certified. India, you don't have that training so far. They come unskilled, they become semi-skilled, and they are skilled fellow in a 15-year learning curve. They come with no knowledge. They're illiterate or semi-literate. They are not gone through education. They come from predominantly agricultural background earlier. Suddenly they got into the particular thing. They would not have even completed 6th standard or 7th standard, 8th standard, very limited exposure. So you have a major problem. So the role will come on to you to say what is the right way of construction or wrong way of construction. Therefore, to tell a mason, no, that's not the way to lay the thing. That's not the way to put the reinforcement. You should put more cover. The cover block is not right. So you got to tell them also, even though initially, most of the engineers, when they come to site, they learn from the senior mason or Raj Mistri at the site. to tell them how to do, because they have 15 to 20 years of experience, and that they will try to go and do that particular. So you have a problem of supervision is very important, and therefore quality control and quality assurance. There are two things: quality control of material and using the material to actually lay the construction is an important component there. So you have to ensure that along with the quality construction, quality control of the site which you do, the right way of doing, the amount of water, the mix, the curing required, all quality control. Quality assurance will be looked at by somebody above you who will say to assure whether you have done the quality control right or not. Don't mix up both the words. Quality control is done by the construction supervising team with the project engineer, with all the masons and contractors together. Quality assurance will be coming by somebody else to see whether you've done the job right or not, to say to clear it or defect it. So if they find too much mistakes in quality assurance, that means you have not done your quality control right. So big construction companies, you have at the site a different team called the quality assurance team, and quality control is what you people will do. Quality of the material, quality of cement, the aggregate, the water that you use, the mix that you make, your how you laid the foundation or column or beam or slab or masonry, everything will come in quality control. Quality control will cover all aspects of that. So therefore, it's very, very important that you require the right level of skill sets. Now, construction is also coming through what is called the green building component. Green buildings are those issues where you are trying to ensure all the resources of the country are used rightly. Water as a resource, energy as a resource, building material as a resource, forest as a resource. Each one of them is an important resource. How do you use that? Where will you get the building material from? So you don't create damage to the environment. So everybody is trying to make the buildings also green. You should also know. In fact, each one of you, 50 people, I would strongly urge a small little training program for you. You can all become the IGBC accredited professionals, AP they call it, accredited professionals. You can take an examination, very easy examination, online examination. Through Ashok, we can organize a training program, and then that will make you very important. Then your name, you will have your name, Miss Kartika Kavita or Miss Kumari Rishita. You would be, IGBC AP. Okay. Or you can put Mohammad Nizamuddin, your name along with IGBC AP coming on that. It's a great opportunity, the wonderful thing. And people with that particular background, you bring a rounded personality, you will have more opportunity to get jobs than just pure BE. If you're a BE along with an IGBC accredited professional, it's good. It teaches you all those fine things about dealing with the construction in a sustainable manner. That's a topic by itself. You may require 1 day or 2 days to talk on green building, but you should know. How many in this 50 has ever heard the word green building? Anybody in this group? Anybody has heard the word?
No, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Only
Somebody, Tajamul says he has heard the word. Afros?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I heard the word.
You heard, but you don't know what it is. You don't know. But I'm happy.
I know somewhat. Somewhat I know, sir.
Yeah,
so this is a gap analysis. That information on green building is a very important gap analysis you'll have to do with that. Equally important component is the issues to deal with modernization. A lot of new, besides prefabricated construction coming over there, you have a lot of knowledge coming with integrated drawings of building information management system, BIM, or artificial intelligence, or IoT in construction. These are all using digital formation and trying to get coordinated drawings in a large way. Especially imagine a construction where so many specialists are going to come there. So you got to find that small little space. So quite often when you do that, they say, no, sorry, you can't do this because there's some other piping will come there. Only when you have a complete beam control drawings over there, you will be able to understand that. And that can be done during the planning period. It can be done during the construction period. It can be done post-occupation for the maintenance, because that's also equally important. It's not enough you complete the building and go away. The building has to perform. So they'll see what will happen to the building 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later. So that also becomes an important component. You got to really get the right level of tools to get onto that. And now, now that COVID construction stopped now, 4 years, 3 months, 4 months, everybody will start going back. So IGBC brought out a good document. I did not know Ashok has got the document or not. IGBC guidelines for post-COVID construction. What do you do in
Yes,
the construction site? Suddenly, if about 3,000 people were there, now you will get maybe only around 1,000 people. If previously so many supervisors are there, so you've got a lot of control mechanism, how to deal with the construction without spreading of the particular thing, what are all the precautions to be taken every day, morning, afternoon, evening, and later. And between the supervisor, the engineer, the construction workers team, etc., who's holding the, you're going to touch various parts. So those details are all available in a good document called Construction Features, what needs to be done to deal with the post-COVID construction. So you got to equally get a good understanding of the document. That IGBC document can be circulated to everybody, Ashok, if you
yes,
have a
sir, I
copy of
will do
that.
it. Yeah, I will do it.
Yeah, and things are changing. We cannot build the way we used to build maybe around 60 years back, 50 years back, 10 years, even 40 years back, even 30 years back, even 20 years back. Things are changing. The new building materials and technologies are emerging. I do not know how many of you heard about the Prime Minister's new initiatives to this. I hope you know that 2019-20 has been declared the year of construction technology. After 70 years of independence, we are having for the first time a year of construction technology to learn about all the latest technologies which are available. So Global Housing Technology Challenge Initiative, you can go to a website and get around 65 technologies have been identified of new emerging technology. Global Housing Technology Challenge India. GHTCI. Go to the website and you will be able to get complete information of all the emerging technology. You'll suddenly find, what I didn't even know. I have not even seen it. And you're talking about another 65 new technologies emerging now. So those are the new ones which will come into a very large way, predominantly for the prefabricated construction. They will come into a large way, and therefore you have to get as much amount of exposure and training in those areas. You can't say I can only stand at a site and deal with a single-storied building. No way. It's good. You can deal with such building also. Not an issue. So therefore, you should have a good information available on all these things. And all I can tell at this particular point of time, be absolutely good amount of information. You require what can I say, complete deep in-depth information. Architect can make a mistake and go away. A lawyer can make a mistake and go away. A doctor can go and mistake, patient will die. But an engineer makes a mistake, it is there to stay permanently. So a good construction, you'll get shabash, you're at a good job. If the bad construction, quality is bad, it collapses, or after about 10, 15 years, it starts leaking, it's all bad name for you. I'm not trying to exaggerate. In 1965, that must be exactly 55 years back, after my engineering, what I used to do in Tamil Nadu PWD for the third medical college, Kilpauk Medical College in the hospital. Even now, when I go to Chennai, I walk around to see how the anatomy block is. Because those are the initial days, or a township that we used to do in Avadi. Even now, we'll go and see how is the school building, how is the other center. So therefore, it's very necessary that each one should have a sense of pride, a sense of quality. I did that building, I can say with a sense of pride. And that's happening now because if you go to Singapore, there is a new rating called CONQUAS rating, Construction Quality Assessment System rating. If one building is standing there, the other building also is competing. So each one wants to say, I got a better CONQUAS rating, Construction Quality Assessment System rating, because each one is competing to better quality, better design, better durability. So they will do on a rating scale on structural items, non-structural item, finishing item, and service item. On all those, they put a 100-point rating scale. And so this building got 85 marks out of 100. One CONQUAS building, another building out of 60. They will know that obviously this has been done wrongly. So India has not got that. India will get that. So the sense of pride in each of them becomes important. All of it should be absolutely healthy. Civil engineers, your job is not necessarily in an office room, an air-conditioned room in front of a laptop, cool area. You got to stand at the site. It'll be hot. It'll be humid. It'll be odd hours of working. Concreting even at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I used to be at project site just around 10 years back at Chennai and other area. You got to be absolutely healthy. Health is a very important component for a good civil engineer. You got to have good healthy habits of exercises, food, dietary control, and all other related things, so that you are able to be agile, not only in mind but also body, equally important. Besides your knowledge on engineering and technology, and able to actually execute in a large way. Read as much as possible on modern technologies emerging on it, and it's keeping on changing, mind you. Especially, I have not even talked about the other part of construction. I told you about building construction. The other major is infrastructure construction. How to lay a road. Road construction is important. How to lay a water supply line, water treatment plant, overhead water tanks to be done in a very large way, sewerage to be done for taking all your dirty water to stations, pumping stations over there. How to deal with all the electrical installation related work. How to deal with all other structures which are required for construction, for irrigation construction. Each or all, that's also kind of, one doesn't know where your posting is going to be. Are you going to do the larger bridge across a river, or are you dealing with those all, or the metro rail component, etc., etc. So equally important is infrastructure construction related one. There they have more engineering. More engineering coming on that. What I'll do is I'll look at the watch. It's already 4:41. I better stop now. So what I do is I'll give time for about maybe 5 questions or 6 questions. How many people want to raise the questions? Can you, by count, they can indicate?
Sir, I will let you know, sir. You can little bit speak on smart cities. I will ask them. Guys, you can write the message here. I can read. Your questions, I can read it. So I will give the answer.
They can. They can't speak now. They can only. They have only audio facility or video facility also. Only audio.
Both available, sir.
So then find out who all wants to talk.
Tejamal wanted to talk.
Danya Sriram wants to do. Dr. Guru Raj wants to do. I think
Tejamal.
Himanshu Kumar. I don't know what are the names coming there.
Tejamal, can you speak?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can speak, sir.
Yeah, answer question. Very brief question. Make it brief question, brief answer. Let the next one come later. We have very limited time here.
Sir, on what basis we are making greenhouse building, sir?
What?
On what basis, or what is the main requirement to build a green building?
Green building is also like any other building. Only thing is you are using the resources in an optimal, efficient, effective way. You'll save around 30% of water. You'll pay about 30% or 40% of energy. The nature of building material that you use will be environment friendly, as well as, for example, you use more fly ash in the construction than in the other related one, because all those things which can reduce a carbon footprint. For example, energy that is used in building material is important. For example, if you want to make cement to be done, or you want glass to be done, aluminum to be done, those are materials which use a lot of energy. We try to use, therefore, those products which will use less amount of steel and concrete. And if you do it in the concrete construction there, if you use 30% fly ash instead of all cement concrete being done, then you're contributing to green over there. So there are various issues coming under the materials are more or less the same. Since you asked the question, there are about 1,000 products which are called green co-products, which is also which are certified by the CII, the Green Co Council, which are all environment friendly, ecologically appropriate, energy saving material, which is good for walling, roofing, and various other items. The list also of Green Co products can also be shared, Tajamul. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Go for the IGBC accredited professional examination. Okay? You'll get answers to all the questions. Go.
Okay, thank you so much.
I find Gururaj wants to raise. Who is the next?
Yeah. Nikita Anand wants to. Nikita Anand asked a question: does prefab structures play a good role in green building or sustainable construction? She's a third-year civil engineering.
Who is asking the question?
Nikita Anand.
Nikita, where is Nikita? I can't see her.
Nikita Anand.
What is Nikita want now?
Chat box it is there.
What is your question?
So good evening,
Nikita,
sir. So myself. So my question is: does prefabrication structures play a good role in green building or sustainable construction?
Yeah. So what is the question in prefabricated construction? Yeah. Go ahead. What's the question?
Does prefab structures or materials play good role in green building or sustainable construction?
It can also be. Prefabricated construction can also be green, definitely by using the right level of materials. It's easier to do because large number of, if the structural column and beam are the main thing that supports and the roof element, if you are able to have large number of other materials which are coming for the cladding material, which can be environment friendly, you get marks for those particular things also. So everything is a 100-point rating scale that you have, and they will say in terms of the construction materials that you use, the amount of water use that you can have, and energy use, all those things are added together. And if you get around 80 and above, you get a platinum rated, 70 and above, you get a gold rated building, 60 and above, you get a silver rated building, and 50 and above, you're certified building. So it all depends on what all things you incorporate in that particular building to get those particular. Many are happy, my building is a platinum rated building. They're happy to say that. So that means you have to introduce those elements required, either in terms of specifications for the material or the construction process or the way in which you do the, what do you call, the overall environment. Even for at the construction site, what all you do, they give you marks for that. Materials also cannot come from 1,000 kilometers. Can you do within a 200 kilometers distance or as far as possible? Because then the transportation cost will come down. So if it's a material coming so far away, it has been transported so far. So you will have a less mark on that. So preferably, they will give weightages to those materials, which are local materials, as well as produced within about 100 to 200 kilometers radius. So these are all very important aspects. So good question. I'm sure we'll get answers. It's very similar to what Mr. Afroz has raised. So you will give the answers once you go through the training program for the green building, which IGBC will be happy to hold for you people. Okay? Next.
Yes, sir. Why do green buildings cost more than traditional buildings?
Who said that?
Kiran Kumar from third year civil engineering student.
Where is Kiran Kumar?
Kiran Kumar, can you speak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please raise your question, sir.
Okay. The first answer is your question is wrong. You have misinformation, disinformation, lack of information, and not the right information. I hope you got what I said. You have misinformation, disinformation, as well as lack of information and not the right information. Which means that the fact that green buildings cost a lot is all old story about 20 years back. Today, a good green building can be done at the same cost, even cheaper than a conventional building, because large amount of technologies have emerged in all these areas, which has made it maybe 20 years back when green building movement started, it was costing around 10% to 15% or more than the conventional construction. But today you'll be very happy to know that large number of the green buildings are costing just the same, or if at all, maximum about 1% more or 2% more. But that 2% that you cost in capital cost, that means the cost in material, etc., are made good in the saving. Your energy cost for your building, you will save at least around whatever your electricity bill that will come over there. In those particular costs, the saving that will be coming, and the water bill that will be coming, and other related costs coming on that in the maintenance component, maintenance cost. If you take that in 1.5 years, is the payback period for that means it's 1.5 years saving you had on all the operating costs there. You make good all that you put in the capital cost in a large way. So this will bring it to a larger issue of buildings to have life cycle cost. Never think that building is what you're building today. See what is going to be the cost for that particular building in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or 100 years. How do you do that? Select those materials which will require least maintenance, and not every year got to keep on change and maintain. So that means in every cost, there will be a combination of capital cost as well as the maintenance cost. CapEx and OpEx. Put both these together. So a product should be decided today, not based on today's cheaper cost. This I go for the material, but take into account what's called the life cycle costing. All that is also an important component of sustainability. How many in the group are aware of the National Building Code? Ashok?
Can you write yes or no in chat box quickly? Yes. Yes.
Sir, one question, please.
Yes. 50%, sir.
50. That means out of the 50 participants, 25 people know there is what is called a building code. 50 do not, 25 do not know. No problem. But I think most important thing that you have to see is there are two important chapters in the National Building Code. There are many chapters over there. Part 11 is on sustainability of building construction. You should all read that. It's a new chapter. Nowhere in the world that document is there because only the National Building Code of India has that. Especially on sustainability, that's your theme for the session also. That chapter is beautifully written. Then the part 12 is important because it talks assets and facility management. Creating a building is easy. How do you keep it running? Your plumbing to run, your electricity to be run, to your water treatment plant to be run, your firefighting system to be run, everything needs to be run properly. Each one becomes an important component. So a new type of job is coming for engineers, and that is not in construction. Law, you are required in a very large way by the industry in what is called assets and facility management company. They will deal with buildings of a large nature and how to keep the building going and what type of repairs to be done, what type of retrofitting to be done, what type of strengthening done after so many years of life. Just like we go and have your health checkup being done, building health checkup will also happen very soon, and therefore find out where the problem is. And buildings will not have a life going for about 80 years. Even if the main structure can be 80 years, your non-structural item can be only 60 years. Maybe your finishes can be only around 50 years. Services can be even lower. So different lives are there for different components in building. So you got to see that just like you take care of our own body when you grow from a young age to 70 or 80, how do you take care of your own system? You require a continuous scan of what's happening in the building. A lot of new jobs are coming in the assets and facility management level also. Assets and facility management companies are looking for those skill sets in the civil engineers who can deal with the large building complex to keep it going. Who is the next?
Hello, sir.
Sir,
Can I
next.
ask a question?
Yeah, please ask.
Sir, what is LED certification and who will get that certification?
Who are you? Who are you?
Muhammad
I should know
Nazimuddin
who
from
I'm talking
Makli.
to. Yeah, Mohammed Nizamuddin. Nazimuddin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. What's the question, Mohammed?
What is LED certification and who will get that certification?
What certificate?
Lead, sir.
LED.
He's asking
Lead.
Oh, I'm glad you asked a question. LWED,
Yes,
okay, I'm glad you asked a question. LWED is the certification given by US Green Building Council. It's an American body like India. We got the Indian Green Building Council, of which I am the chairman. Indian Green Building, India's rating is called the IGBC certification. And USGBC certificate is called the LEED certificate. It's called Leadership in Energy and Environment Design. In India, you'll be very happy to know, even though we are 20 years old, IGBC, and USGBC must be 30 years old, and initially USGBC LEED could do some work in India, but now 93% of the buildings in India, 93% are looked after by the IGBC certification for green buildings, and the balance 7% is looked after sometimes by USGBC LEED certification. And there's another certificate called the TERI Griha, T-E-R-I, TERI, G-R-I-H-A, Griha certification. But as I said, 93% is done by the IGBC only. So they've got 26 rating system available under the IGBC. Whereas in the case of LEED certification, only about 4 or 5. They will do the same rating system for an office complex. They will do the same rating system for a hotel. They will do the same ratings for a hospital. They will do the same rating system for a college and campus. No, not in IGBC. IGBC, for each of the occupancies, they have different consumption level of water, energy, material, etc. We are different. We have 26 rating system available. That's why now we are all talking hospitals being built over there. IGBC has got an exclusive rating system for the hospital design in a very large way. Okay, so therefore, like that, they have separate ratings for factories. They go for housing separate, affordable housing separate, office complex separately, factory separate. So LEED certification. So to your direct question, LEED certification is given by the owner of that. That is called the US Green Building Council. They got an agency called GBCI. Green Building Certification Institute or something like that. That's the agency which is there. But maybe around 2% of India's buildings will be under the LEED certification, as I told you. But it's good to know. I'm glad you asked a question. So even within the green building, you just now heard Indian Green Building Council, which has the lion's share of the certification, the IGBC AP examination accredited, just like you are the IGBC AP, you are also the LEED AP examination. LEED AP examination also is there. They also have an accredited professional. Like the idea is whether you are aware of all the rating systems, simple as that. So, but that rating is nothing to do with the AP exam. That rating, that your LEED rating, is for the building to be rated. They will also rate a building platinum, more or less. All the rating system has got similar principles. Only a differential amount. Some give a little important. Maybe LEED gives more for energy. So therefore, all their buildings are air conditioned. Whereas in India, that's not the situation. India gives importance to energy. Maybe around 28 marks out of 100 we'll give for energy. Whereas they might give around 35, 40 marks out of 100. Whereas we'll give importance of building material that is used. We'll give importance to water that is used, because that's all. Those are all the problem areas. So within the 100 marks, differentially, each one of the rating systems has some amount of difference. It's like a question paper that you think each question will get same amount of marks. Some will have more marks for a question than the other questions coming on that. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next
Understood.
question.
Any question? Next question.
Anybody else? Abhilash wants to ask something? I think,
Regarding the smart cities you spoke, sir?
yeah.
Yeah, smart cities.
Who wants to know about smart cities?
Sir, Ashok, sir. Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, I hope you know that in addition to, I just told you just a little earlier that after this new government came in 2014, large number of new programs were started in the country, and they were and these 4 programs evolved around the 100 smart cities to be done in 100 cities of the country over there, to make the building better, efficiencies to be brought in over there on water, on the water supply scheme, the road urban mobility scheme, sewerage scheme, the complete urban mobility related issues, as well as the infrastructure development for your cities, how to improve solid waste management to be done. All these things are all covered under the smart city program, and also do that in a right way into the planning and detailing, so that you don't like what you used to do. We used to put a sewer line in a road, electric line in a road, but somebody comes to deal with the particular one, repair that, the whole road is dug up, then repairs, he goes away, somebody else comes to open the other line. You can't do all that in a smart city component. Everything has got dedicated space. It's already done in, if you go to Oragadam in Chennai, Hiranandani construction has got dedicated corridors for water line, sewer line, gas line, electric line, optical fiber line, where nobody can come and mess with the road. That's a smart way of doing, not the way we have it. So it brings a large amount of smart engineering component in your planning, design, and construction. So 100 smart cities are coming, and then there's also IGBC rating system for the green cities, to make how to make the smart cities also green. So green is not only for green building, but also can be for a small neighborhood, it can be for a campus, it can be for a township, it can also for the city. So green buildings and green built environment, and the smart cities, many smart cities are also going to become IGBC green cities. And today is a very happy day, because Rajkot city has become the first city, smart city in the country, which has become IGBC green city. So it's a good news, Ashok, that you can share. Many will follow, like Bhopal, you will have Indore, Visakhapatnam, you will have Bangalore, Mangalore, Mysore, a large number of other smart cities are big. Maybe in Chennai is also trying to get into this particular area, and also Nagpur is trying to be in, Pune is trying to get in over there. Along with these 100 smart cities, you have a program for 500 Amrut cities, equally important. Amrut is Atal Mission for Reforms and Urban Transformation. Those cities are 1 lakh and above population. 100 cities are a bigger one, but just 1 lakh and above population. There are many cities, 500 cities are there. How to improve them? They don't have a sewerage scheme. They don't have good water supply scheme. They don't have solid waste management scheme. Amrut cities also. So they are all predominantly infrastructure oriented. Particularly, I told you the jobs will come not only building construction but also in the infrastructure construction area. You will be equally able to do well in those areas as well. Along with that is another major component is called the Pradhan Housing for All. Everybody should get a house by 2022. That's another 2 more years. And they want to build around 120 lakhs of houses or 1.2 million houses. And that is coming in a very big way. And therefore, urban and rural houses are being built into a large way of providing for the poor and the low income. Many schemes to provide housing. That's all building construction. All building construction. So therefore, the scheme of the smart cities, Amrut cities, the PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or Housing for All are the last was Swachh Bharat mission to providing toilets and disposal system. India never used to have. But it's only now that previously only a small percentage of people are having access to the toilets there. Now, it's a very important component, especially for women, especially in the rural area. They have to travel either before sunrise or after sunset. Sanitation spread is another major component. Even that's equally important. In your civil engineering, public health engineering component becomes an equally important area. How to deal with that? Technologies to deal with water, wastewater treatment, the sewage treatment plants. On those areas also, your knowledge level has not just concrete and steel and laying of concrete. You got to equally have an exposure on that. One doesn't know where your jobs are going to be. Your exposure should be there. So smart city has good enough information.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And your time is also up, sir. Next webinar you need to go.
Yeah, I am getting into another major event. I'm going to. My presentation is coming. Anyway, it is a great pleasure, all you young ones, 25 young ladies and 25 young men with your faculty people and all that. It's nice to interact. You can give my email ID, Ashok. If they want to raise any questions, they can always send across mail to me. I shall be happy to reply. Or otherwise, they can send all the questions to you. You can send it to me. I'll reply to you, and you can in turn share it with them. That will be a better thing because you will have contact with your participants.
Stay safe, sir. Stay safe. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All the best. Good wishes to everybody. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm glad I could spend some good value time with all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Bhairi Nathan says thank you. Angad says thank you. Arvind Kumar says thank you. Raj Kumar says thank you. Santosh Kumar Yadav says all are men, no women. Sandeep again. Jain is also. Viresh is also. Kiran is a lady. Venkatesh, Vinki, Raju, Nachi, Kumari, one lady. Mohammed Nizamuddin, Parwa Sri says thank you. Dawood says, Akshay says,
most of the people
Chetana is there. Usha is there. Lady.
Most of the people are getting.
Kavya Gowda is there. She wants to say thank you. Navya wants to say thank you.
Most of the people are getting trained at Prayojana, sir. Nearly this is 54th webinar.
Very good. Excellent. I'm very happy. Nandini has joined. Danya Shriram joins. Nidesh Raj, thank you. It's nice to get all these people. Got very alert, get actively involved as and when the program is going on. But very important that if you have a sense of pride, you've got to be good in your knowledge level, skill set. There's no shortcut to be a good engineer. If you want to be a good engineer, the outstanding examples of amazing engineers who come up well, whether it is you want to have a Sridharan's name or our M. Vishweshwaraya's days, or so many of those people who have done the longest bridges, the tallest building, or the largest pipeline, or the prefab construction. You have great people there. If you want to be something like that, knowledge has got to be continuously within your particular. You got to be 100%. You'll be associated with the professional bodies, Institution of Engineers, or the Indian Green Building Council, Builders Association of India's program. There are a lot of seminars and workshops which keep on coming regularly to update even practicing people about new knowledge, etc. Equally important component. So it will also help you to do your job better, and more importantly, become an IGBC AP early. Okay, then everything will fall in place, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful time with the students. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Abhilash, please continue. Thank you, sir.